this great country.
Former President Jimmy Carter. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A United Nations fact-finding mission has found Israel, quote, punished and terrorized civilians in its 3-week assault on Gaza earlier this year, and cited strong evidence that Israeli forces committed grave breaches of the Geneva Conventions. More than 1,400 Palestinians, about a third of them women and children, were killed in the assault. 13 Israelis died. The 575-page report came at the end of a 6-month inquiry and was based on dozens of interviews and investigations. The inquiry was led by Judge Richard Goldstone, the former chief prosecutor of the International Courts for Yugoslavia and Rwanda. Judge Goldstone said Israel deliberately attacked civilians and failed to take precautions to minimize loss of civilian life.
We came to the conclusion on the basis of the facts we found that there is strong evidence to establish that numerous serious violations of international law, both humanitarian law and human rights law, were committed by Israel during the military operations in Gaza. The mission concluded that actions amounting to war crimes, and possibly in some respects crimes against humanity, were committed by the Israel Defense Force.
Judge Goldstone also said there was evidence that Palestinian armed groups committed war crimes by firing rockets into southern Israel.
Established in sin. This is why.
Turning to the Palestinian armed groups, there's no question that the firing of rockets and mortars was deliberate and calculated to cause loss of life and injury to civilians and damage to civilian structures. The mission found that these actions also amount to serious war crimes and also possibly crimes against humanity.
Judge Goldstone's report will be presented to the UN Human Rights Council later this month. The investigators recommended the UN Security Council should call on Israel and the Palestinian authorities to launch their own investigations into the conflict within 3 months. If either side failed to do that, the Council should refer the matter to the International Criminal Court prosecutor in The Hague within 6 months. Israel, which had refused to cooperate with the investigation, claimed Goldstone's investigation was biased against Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held consultations with top government officials last night. A senior Israeli staffer told Haaretz newspaper, quote, "The goal is to avoid a slippery slope which would lead Israel to the International Criminal Court in The Hague." Well, Norman Finkelstein